Hey guys, I'm April from Giggle Glitter Graphics, and welcome to part 2 of Written in Ink. This is a free 8-part journal making series that tells the story of a writer who is experiencing a serious case of writer's block and has a deadline approaching. Their mentor reaches out with a little assistance, and that is when the magic happens. This is a free project series that is going out to my email list, so each Friday I'll be sending a new part of the story and guiding you through building the interactive journal pages. If you're not on the email list and you'd like to join us, just use the link in the description down below to sign up and get this project sent to you immediately. Supplies today are super simple. We need 2 kinds of glue, a liquid glue with a fine point and an optional glue stick. I like Uhu glue stick. You will also need scissors to cut everything out, and you might like to use vintage photo distress ink on the edges. I am doing that on all of the pieces today except for this one here that you're going to tear the edges on. So you don't want to ink that ahead of time. We're going to tear it and then ink it later. For printing everything out, I use 110-pound cardstock and 32-pound paper. Almost all of the pages I provide for you are marked with which one of those you should print on, and it'll be at the top of the page. It will also indicate if the reverse side should be printed. In the case of part 2, the page with this piece on it is going to get the included backer paper printed on the reverse side. This is also printed on cardstock along with the page that has these elements on it, and then the page with the journal entry is going to be printed on paper. So to get started, I'm going to grab my journal and open it up, and I'm going to flip to the next blank page. We're working on this left-hand page today, and we're going to be adding to our story. I'm going to slide all of my pieces out of the way and begin with these 2 corner pieces. I'm going to grab my liquid glue. You're going to need the fine point on this to attach these pieces. And I am just going to position these up into the top left and bottom right corners of the page. So I'm going to do the one with the flower on it first. I'm going to flip that over, and we're going to do the straight sides with a narrow, thin line of glue. As thin as you can make it, but still have a nice bead of glue on there. And I'm going to position this almost entirely to the top and left sides. At the bottom, I'm going to repeat that with this piece, and I'm going to put the glue along the right angle. And then for this piece, you don't want to push it all the way into the crease of the book. That can cause it to jam up just a little bit. So we want to leave just a little breathing room, and then line it up to the bottom of the page. So I'm going to hold mine up. And you can see I've just left a little gap along there. So when this closes, it's not right up into that crease. We're also going to go ahead and add a couple of embellishments to this so they can get good and dry while we work on everything else. There is a wax seal with an envelope. We're going to pop that up into the left-hand corner, and you can use whatever glue you like for this. There is a first class stamp. I'm going to place that down here, maybe give it a little bit of an angle, and then this rose seal. I'm going to layer that just a little bit at the bottom. So we've got our little tucks into place here, and I'm going to put this off to the side. Next, we are going to build a package and then fill it up. We have a package that arrives to our main character in the story. So we have this large kind of funky panel. It's printed on the back with the paper that was included. And you're just going to fold that in half so that the top corner and this edge meet and it's nice and square. There is a line that runs down here, but if you're having trouble seeing it, just fold up so that this meets and is nice and square along here. And we're going to go ahead and get this funky little pocket, and we're going to attach that onto the texture, the more glamorous side of the page. We're going to do the same thing as we did with our corner tucks, a little bead of glue running along those straight edges. And I'm going to make that even with the bottom and right sides. Now we have another little corner piece, and this one is going to go up into this corner as one more tuck. We have a lot of tucks today. So we're going to leave this angle alone. I'm going to flip it over, and again, a little bead of glue along that right angle. And then this one is going to go into the crease and to the top. And then we always have to check our fold. So we're going to fold that over and press it down just to make sure it's not binding up into the crease here. So now we have the inside finished, and we're going to flip to the outside. We're not doing anything to the back, but this is a great place for you to add your own decoration. So if you have something you'd like to do on the back of this, please feel free to do that. But we're going to do the front of the package, and that's where this panel here comes in. And what I'm going to do is tear this piece. So we have some fun edges, and you're going to want to make sure that you get some of this corner because it needs to fit on our panel here. So I'm just going to tear it all the way around and then adjust it to fit if I need to. And there's no rhyme or reason to this. Don't worry about yours being torn exactly like mine. If you tear down, you're going to have less of these white edges. If you tear up, you have a little more white edges. At least I find that is true with the paper that I use. And now this is going to fit really nicely on here. I can leave it like that, or I can grab my distress ink and add a little more detail to those edges if I want this to pop out a little more. And then using your glue stick or your liquid glue, we're going to glue this right down here. If you use your glue stick, it'll kind of glue it down more, flatter. The liquid glue, you can leave some raised edges if you're not worried about having them catch on things. And it can feel like it has a little more dimension that way. Now we've got labels. If you remember last week, we had the same names and addresses. So I recommend choosing the one that matches the name and address that you used last week, whether that is Oliver, Allison, or the blank one where you added your own address. So I'm going with Allison, and I'm going to pop that on. I like a jaunty angle. So I'm going to place that like so. Now I'm going to place this off to the side and let it dry. And let's work on our ephemera pieces. We have some fussy cuts, and I'm going to go over those really quickly. These are double-sided fussy cuts, so I've given you mirror images so you can glue them back to back. And if you're cutting these by hand, you might feel like it is a little tricky. So I recommend cutting two distinct places on your fussy cuts. On this one, maybe the top angle of the bottle and the bottom angle of the bottle. Do that with your scissors. Do that to both pieces, and then line them up, glue them together, and then finish cutting around the rest. And that'll make it pretty even on both sides. So same thing for the pen. Maybe cut the tip of the pen and then around this back end, put them back to back and glue them together with those lined up, and then finish cutting out the rest. So that's going to give you a little bit of a neater finish if you are cutting by hand. So once you have those, we're going to glue these back to back. I wanted these to feel like, since they're integral to the story, I wanted them to feel substantial and important. So, and it also helps protect the tip of this pen. It'll be a little thicker and less likely to get damaged if you've got a double layer of cardstock. There we go. So I'm going to leave those to dry. Then we have a note from Ezra and our journal entry. These both fold in half, like so. And then you're going to glue the backs together. And your glue stick probably would make a lot of sense here to get really nice coverage on that. I'm just going to do a quick swish of glue and press that down with my bone folder. You can use your hand or a ruler or anything else to smooth your glue out. So there's my journal entry. and then my little note card that's going to go into the package. Now we have all of our ephemera. I'm going to come back to the package, and our pen can go into the pocket as well as the ink. And this little note can tuck up under this corner. And if you're having trouble getting it, you can either pop it up by bending it, or you can grab your scissors or bone folder and give this a little lift so it's easier to work with in the future. And then you should be able to kind of pop that up in. And if you want this to be extra secure, you can give it a little wiggle and put it under the edge of this pocket, and that will pin it in a little bit. If you want to add a fastener here, a Velcro dot or something like that to hold this shut is nice. But once we put it on the page, it should be okay because it will be held by these tabs. So let's go back to our journal. And I'm going to do the journal entry first. We want that to be hidden. We can discover that, and we'll just slip that in here. And then the package, same way. And you can see, because I didn't glue that down, I'm going to have a problem where that's going to catch. So I'm actually going to come back to that and add a little more glue. And now I can slip that under there. And you might need to bend it a little to get it under the second one. I tried to balance security and ease of use with that one. And that's it for today's journal page. I hope you enjoyed today's installment of our story, Written in Ink. I really appreciate you all participating in this series, and I hope to see you in the next video.